Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies, and welcome back to another episode of Blake's Buzz Live. What is this episode? Oh, man, episode 21. I'm fucking old. Been here forever. Tonight we've got some wonderful people. We're also doing things a little bit different tonight. Before I introduce these fine creatives that decided to come hang out. Tonight's show has a sponsor. How fucking nuts is that? Yeah, it's tonight's show is sponsored by Jonathan Hedrick's Capable, which is right now a project we love on Kickstarter, which is awesome because I love it, you love it, we love it. Capable is a campaign you should back if you haven't heard of it. Well, let me just let me give you my best trailer voice. Derek Davidson is just an average high school kid. He's awkward, shy, bullied, and he uses a wheelchair. But one day, Derek suddenly has the ability to run super fast. What will Derek do with his new power? And what happens when even more people wake up? Capable. It is live right now. It deserves your money. It's a great book. It's fun. It's got a good message. I think I'm not the only one who's a fan of coming of age superhero stories. I think they're cool and they're also hard to do. They're hard to stick out. And this one's sticking out. It's worth your time. All right. So we're already off. We're off to a good start talking about amazing comics. Guess what? We're going to keep talking about amazing comics tonight. Tonight I've got Wells Thompson with me. I've got the sloth daddy, Steve Urena himself. I've got Gary Proudley here. And all these guys have one thing in common. They're all real fucking good writers. All right. They're stellar writers with fun and intriguing comics that are out here that we're going to talk about tonight. I guess let's just you know what? Returning champion, Steve. I guess I'll give you the first go. Like, all right, so Steve, is this? Did you come on? Is this your fourth time?
I think this is my third time.
Third time. Okay. I thought there might have been one campaign we missed.
Yes, I think Zombie Date Night we didn't talk possibly until after the campaign. I think we talked. I think we talked Slowpokes, and we definitely talked Mosh, and I remember those. But thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to be in the company of such great talent here. Appreciate that. So thank you for having me back on.
No, man, yeah, I'm stoked, and not only am I stoked. So the first time I interviewed Steve, we talked like all fucking night. We talked for like 4 hours almost, and at the end of it, like. Steve was like, all right, like I'm going to tell you about all these future things that you can't talk about for a year. And I was like, okay. And he's like, well, we're thinking about doing Slowpokes 2 for Halloween. And I was like, yes. And then he was like, then I'm working with Lane Lloyd on this Christmas book. And I was like, what? And he like told me about that. And I was like, so he gave me this like awesome breadcrumb trail of his like blossoming comic book career that's getting ready to happen. And so it just like totally blew my mind. And now it's cool. Cause like, we're like all this time ago, like we can talk about this stuff now, like and now as the spooky season is approaching, Slowpokes 2 is upon us, and those wondrously murdersome sloths are going to be back in our lives. Are you worried about living up to the hype, Steve?
I think this one will exceed expectations. I'll put it out there right now. Slowpokes 1, very special place in my heart, obviously. But I think Slowpokes 2 is better. I think as a writer, I think I've grown a little bit. Definitely more fart and dick jokes, of course. But I Slowpokes 2 is in a great locale this time. It takes place at a summer camp. My homage to slasher movies set at summer camps like Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp, which I think is really underrated as a horror movie. So for me, it's like Heavyweights meets Friday the 13th, because at a weight management camp and the sloths are in their element, they're running through the woods and they're on the loose and they're ready to strike.
Dude, I'm so, and I love the new cover, which we'll pull up here in a second. But why did you make us wait so long? Like what? It feels like a long. You just had to put out an awesome Christmas special. You were like, I get it. I get it.
So Slowpokes took more time than I thought, just because Juan Romero is such a talented artist that he had some other projects available. So I was like, you know what? I do love Slowpokes, love the slots, but I just wanted to do some other things just so people know that like anything could happen. Anything could come out at any time, not just all Slowpoke stuff. That way I got Zombie Date Night and Ex Machina. I just want to keep the unpredictable, alive in my campaigns.
You guys will notice if I talk about it later, I'm going to call it the Christmas comic, because if you guys listened to the Christmas special last year, I cannot say the title of his. I'm not going to do it. I can't say the title. I can't say it. I screw it up every time. But yeah, it's you have a wild sense of humor that you're just unafraid to like go full Steve, right? And it's really paying off for you, man. Like it's working.
Thank
like
you. I appreciate that.
That's Steve Urena charm.
You never go full Steve, but I went full Steve.
Usually you can abide by all the rules Tropic Thunder gives you word for word, and it makes your life better. But this time it's okay. It looks like we've got the returning cast of likable characters that haven't died yet, thank God. And then these crazy motherfuckers, these three-toed demons, they're fast too. That's another great thing about this comic is these are blind, like the Flash quick. Sort of. They can't like turn back time or anything yet. Maybe who knows what happens in the second issue. But they're very fast. They're menacing. And look, this is such a good cover. Like I cannot believe how good this is. Like Big 2 level cover, dude. Like it's perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, listen, I'm so happy for you as well because you have a sponsor now. You're getting more viewers. You're getting more buzz, quote unquote.
It's true. And like I told everybody in the green room, I ate a gummy before the show, so there's going to be plenty of buzz.
Perfect.
It's already starting a little bit. I think we'll be okay.
And this is going to be a great show. I can't wait.
They're all great because I have amazing guests every week. So I don't know why, but you guys keep coming back. Also, I'm slothed up, baby.
That's right.
I'm slothed up and ready. I'm ready for the show.
The second shirt there, so you can have a true hot sloth summer. We also got koozies below.
The koozies are sick. I'm so stoked for the koozie, man. I have not seen many Kickstarter koozies. Like, have you guys? Like, I've like Pogs are like everybody's got trading cards, right? Which I dig because I'll use those for bookmarks. And I read like 12 books at a time, right? So I need a lot of bookmarks all the time. And I see Pogs and actual bookmarks, postcards, mini prints. I've not seen a coaster. It's new to me.
Yeah, so for me, I always want to have fun with the merch. I always want to have fun with everything, all the campaigns, like everything have a theme if I had my way. But with this, I was like, you can't have a hot sloth summer without a nice koozie for your drink. So I thought, why not? They're pretty easy to make. I got cool art for it. And, I know a lot of people would want to take that to their barbecue or hopefully family reunion or graduation, anything with a nice, nice killer sloth.
The church brunch on Sunday.
Yes. Yeah. I really hope they do.
I would. I mean, they'd have to have some real good food to get me at a church brunch. But if I did go to one of those, I would definitely bring it. We got some viewers in the house. Let's say hi to. We got Mr. David Hazan. David is the one who introduced me to Gary. That we're going to talk about his awesome comic later. David, I don't know if you guys know, writes Nottingham at Mad Cave, and he's just about as charming can get. Thanks for tuning in, sir. We appreciate you. Got Red Sea Comics in the house. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. We have issues in the house. Awesome, man. We got checking out Steve. Everybody loves Steve. That's the thing. You can't be in indie comics and not love Steve. That's against the rules. Like you can't just do it. Anyways, oh man, anytime. So my favorite murderous sloths are back. I can't wait to see the new and inventive ways that your artists disembowel people on the pages of these comics. I love the art style because it's like real enough to be creepy and also like a little soft and cartoony simultaneously. And that juxtaposition works really, really well. It just like they're great. It's great, you know, like the colors and the mood and the vibe. It all really works. And it's I mean, it's the best sloth. The haunted sloth. That's not a haunted comic. I'm good. I'm losing it. I'm going off the deep end. It's the best murder sloth comic out there, like bar none. Like literally no competition.
Yes, I think it's safe to say that this is the best hands-on sloth horror comic ever. Also, the best part about this issue. Sorry. Also, the best part about this issue is I got to kill the people that helped back the first one. So I am very excited. I got to kill my dad in it because he backed the first one at the highest tier, and I got to kill some friends, some family, and some fans, which is really, really cool to do. That they let me murder them and decapitate them and kill them in the most gruesome ways possible.
I always think about like when because that is a common pledge, like, or you know, like maybe not being murdered, but like being an extra in the comic or having a scene in the comic, being drawn into the comic some way. And I've always thought about, you know, doing that because it's like, oh, how cool would that be to like put me in this comic that I love and I could like show people that and lie, right? And I wouldn't say like, yeah, I paid for this. I'd be like, dude, they put me in a comic. They like me so much, Mom. They put me in this comic, right? Like I do have friends. I do have friends, Mom. Anyway, sorry. Whoa. But yeah, I figure if I start doing that, that's how I end up in a cardboard box on a street corner. Like I will spend all my money. Like Blake has to be in all the Kickstarter comics. Like we go from like $15
that's like a Twilight Zone. That's like a Twilight Zone. Like, oh, I wish I was in a comic, and then somebody just bags and boards you, and then puts you somewhere.
like that Pete and Pete episode from way back when the Tupperware people like they like live in the Tupperware containers and they're like immortal and fucking crazy. Did anybody watch Pete and Pete on Nickelodeon forever ago?
I used to dabble, but yeah, Pete and Pete, all those Nickelodeon shows, and it's crazy that a lot of them are coming back. Also, that guy was Danny Tamborelli. He's always they're around here in Connecticut. They'll do trivia, and he'll always be around. Like I guess they'll do Nickelodeon trivia or something like that. He'll always be like a host.
Really? I just saw. I thought it was speaking of old Nickelodeon shows. This is what we're here to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I just remember all that, and like Kenan Thompson just got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I thought that was so cool. And when I saw that, all I could think of was Pierre Escargot when he did like the sketches in the bathtub, and so like I
think he should accept that award as hero.
He should have worn the white raincoat or the yellow raincoat, like the April O'Neil raincoat to the deal. But yeah, I watched about 15 minutes of those on YouTube because they're all on, like you could just watch a bunch of them, and I was fucking dying. I was like, how do these still hold up? These are so stupid. But I was cracking up, and maybe it was just because I quit working.
I think we should bring everybody into this discussion. What is your top 3 Nickelodeon shows?
Oh, there we go.
Ooh. Well, Avatar: The Last Airbender is pretty obviously up there. Early SpongeBob did hit different. That was that's definitely stuck with me. And I'm trying to remember Legend. You know what's weird is that like the show that stuck with me the most that I remembered, long after I forgot the title of it, Legend of the Hidden Temple. For some reason that always stuck with me.
The game show?
Yeah, the game show.
Dude, that shit. When the crazy like people used to jump out and grab them, I just always I don't know why I was like scared. Like I remember like just staring at the TV, like sweating, like freaking out, like oh god, like.
Also, the silver
snakes it wasn't like that scary.
The silver snakes were like the biggest scrubs ever. Like they always lost. It's like, dude, like why did you put them on the silver snakes? These poor guys, these poor kids.
Gary, did you guys have Nickelodeon?
Yeah, Nickelodeon sort of cable TV is not as ubiquitous here, or wasn't. So there's not as many touchstones, but I'm absolutely going to steal The Last Airbender. That I loved. And I'm going to take The Legend of Korra as well, because you may as well take 2 for. And Rugrats was Nickelodeon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Rugrats was the
I'm
shit.
going to take Rugrats. Yeah.
I got in so much trouble as
Lil,
a kid
baby.
because of Rugrats. Me and my sister would fight all the time. So like my sister one time just spit in my drink, and my parents banned Rugrats from the house because they thought that's where they got it from.
Did anyone watch the new one on Paramount Plus? That's like all like the weird like computer animation, like all high tech looking and stuff.
No, some things need to stay in the past.
Exactly. I mean, they
I
should
got
do a
my own
Rugrats show
now.
where they're,
the last-
they're older.
The only time I've seen anyone go back to like a Nickelodeon property and pull it off really, really well was the Invader Zim movie on Netflix, Into the Floorbus. Actually, really good. Picks up like it feels exactly like watching a 90-minute episode of Invader Zim in the best way possible.
Well, that's just because
Nice.
they
I
haven't
saw
brought
the
back
Rugrats
Salute Your
one.
Shorts
That's
yet.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. I mean, why not?
Or Hey
Like,
Dude,
you know,
Hey Dude, you could.
Yeah.
Hey Dude would be real easy to do, I think.
Oh, now I'm just remembering all the good, like Hey Arnold and
oh, Hey Arnold is so good. I think Hey Arnold's on my top
Amanda
three.
Show. And
Yeah.
no,
what's
those
your
are so
top
good.
3, Steve?
Hey
All
Arnold,
Monsters.
definitely.
Oh my God.
I would say Rugrats probably number 2, and then 3. Trying to think. All that is pretty good too. I enjoyed that a lot. So I'd say those 3.
All right.
But
So I'm
but all
thinking.
the- all three-
I'm thinking.
also
Are you
Teenage
afraid of
Mutant
the dark?
I was wondering if that
that-
one was going to
that's
come up.
I'll take that over all that.
I couldn't do "Are You Afraid of the Dark" as a kid. I was scared. I was scared shitless of it.
Dude, I still remember the night that the X-Files premiered. Okay, I watched it. I watched an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark before that on Nickelodeon. I'm at my grandma's. I'm at my grandma and grandpa's house. I'm in their bedroom watching their little 10-inch TV with the lights out, and I watched the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where the girl in the mirror and she's like writing stuff backwards on the walls, and the kid helps get her out at the end. And that like freaked me out, even though it had like a heartwarming, happy ending. Then right after that, I watched the premiere of the X-Files. And like at the end of it, like at the end of episode 1, like Mulder's chasing a fucking alien, and you like never really see it. But dude, I didn't sleep that night, man. I scared the shit out of myself. And it's so funny, like I'm obsessed with horror these days, and I think that's why. It's just because I traumatized myself as a child watching all this stuff I shouldn't have.
I feel the same way. A lot of the stuff I write nowadays is horror based, and I'm like, when did I become a horror fanatic? Because as a kid, I couldn't stand it. Like I had nightmares based on like Courage the Cowardly Dog, like that, like the Ramses episode, that shitty early 3D modeling of Ramses saying "Beware the slab" or "Suffer my." No, absolutely, nightmares for like years, actual years.
David called it. We made it a whole 15 minutes before we totally quit talking about our comics and what we were supposed to start. What we were supposed to talk about. Steve's like, thanks. It happened during my slot too. No, it's okay.
It's all
Don't worry, we'll derail.
Listen, I'm here to talk with other creators, talk horror, talk everything. Get everybody in here. That's what this is about. Like, I love horror comics. I think the best thing about writing horror comics is the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want, and the bar is so low that you could be like, oh, fast killer sloths, let's do it. and then there's like high concept horror, like the Ice Cream Man, or like Nice House on the Lake, or the Something is Killing the Children, which I never like. Did they ever figure out what was killing the children? Because I need to catch up.
Man, they're kind of like dreams. I think they're just like in real America.
So,
dreams are killing the children.
Dreams will kill you.
It's something dumb.
It's a big metaphor, dude.
Dreams will kill
It's all
you,
about the American dream, man.
That makes it really scary.
Right? Steve, what sparked your love of horror? Like at what age, or even recently with your creative endeavors where you're sacrificing huge chunks of your life and time to chase all of you guys. Like, I mean, I think Kickstarter is awesome, but it's an endeavor. It's a very big commitment, and you're using that to chase a dream of telling horror stories. And I mean, you're 3 for 1 ratio right now of horror to not horror. Even though some people that are scared of elves and robots may find the Christmas issue terrifying, but like what sparked that, man? What made you want to like roll down that hill or run up that hill?
Running up that hill with skateboard. I just think I think horror is just a lot of fun. I think you can create these creatures, create these monsters, play with the things that scare you, and have a ball. Because if Fast Killer Sloths came for me, I would be scared out of my mind, and I would shit my pants probably. But with these comics, it's like you can do whatever you want. You could have as much fun, and you could have fun with the reader and create these worlds where the impossible is possible. So I always have fun with that. And I just think the horror community is so fun and welcoming that I always thought to start there. And just from, I remember going to Blockbuster as a kid and seeing the art and just all the imagination that it sparked of like, what could this be? You know what I mean? Sometimes what you think in your head could be better than, a movie or something, you build up in your head of like, oh, this could be really, really cool. And then you see it and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be. So this is what I want to do in terms of horror. Like, I want you to see the cover. I want you to be like, oh man, that's sick. And then I want you to read the book and be like, wow, that was better than I expected, or that was just what I imagined this to be.
Nice. Good answer, Steve. Very passionate. I'm even more stoked for your fucking book now. I'm just you can't get more storked. You can't get more storked. You can't get more storks for sloths than me right now.
Listen, don't put that idea in my head. You want killer storks?
Yeah, I do. I want a whole murderous, demonic animal universe.
I want to do
that leads into a massive tie-in.
Do like long necks, call them like long necks, and then storks will be like delivered. They actually deliver babies, or demons or something. I think we're onto something.
So Steve, Sloth Daddy, I do have a question. So historically, the progenitor to the sloth was this like giraffe-sized giant, like sloth bear type thing. Have you considered integrating these into the story?
I think eventually, when the time is right, we will be getting those. I've definitely
giant fast sloths.
Yes, exactly. The best thing about Slowpokes is it's me playing with the horror genre. So like if there's horror genre movies out there, like let's say Planet of the Apes is scary. What if you did a Planet of the Sloths, right? Like you could do so much. You can have them go back in time. Like anything could happen with that, and like I want to just play around with it. But you will definitely see those at some point when hopefully when the story gets around to it.
Oh my god!
I would watch the shit out of The Lighthouse, but the seagulls are sloths. Like all the seagulls in that movie are just sloths hanging around on the lighthouse. That'd be great.
I'm just like envisioning a scenario where the sloth situation is so out of control. The secret science people in the government they're like, we finally have to use the time machine, President Biden. We have to use the time machine to go back in time and stop sloths forever. And then they're like, okay. And they send like this group of SEALs back in time. And then that's where like the fuckery happens, right? And then the giant prehistoric sloth gets brought back in.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I like to think that
you could take that to the bank. I don't even need a credit on as long as we know that this idea was birthed on Blake's Buzz Live episode 21.
Absolutely. I like to think the sloths were already aliens and they just came to Earth and the gravity just made them slow and they just
wait.
Holy
Wait,
shit.
do you mean the sloths in your story or all sloths everywhere are aliens?
The real theory.
All sloths. Yeah, that's my. You know what I mean? People have conspiracy theories. That's my conspiracy theory that sloths came down to Earth from another planet, and the gravity was so much for them that they couldn't get off Earth. So like they just stayed there.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We can't beat that. Have a good night, everybody. No,
This is the last Blake's Buzz.
Yeah.
We've reached
wants-
peak comics.
Who wants to follow up Steve? Sucks for both of you guys.
No, these guys are super talented, and you know, I'm a buffoon. I'm a goofball. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just having fun and playing around. These guys are writing real good stories. I'm just writing.
You're
what if
all
Slaughter-
writing very good stories. Stop it.
Buffoonery is the essence of good storytelling.
It's hard to make people laugh in writing and in comics. Like it really, like those one-liners and stuff. Like you got to be good, or they're not going to hit right. You know, and it's, you know, like it's rare that I read comics and I'm literally like, you know, like, you know, it's like I've never read a comic where I was like crying, holding my belly, you know, like, but I mean, like I've gotten some good chuckles out of comics, and your comics bring the chuckles. I guess.
I'll take it. I'll take the chuckles. If you react in any way, I'm down. Like, you know what I mean? Even negatively, that's fine too.
Well, you're like a slab of granite reading my book. Something. Give me something. Please.
React something. Just give me something.
I got to say, man, the two hardest things I think to write are horror and comedy. So to do both at the same time, that you got to be a masochist.
Yeah, he's a secret ninja.
Yeah.
Horror
See, I'm
is
just
so
like I'm
easy.
just cutting my arm off or something, like just like hammering my hands.
I agree with you about comedy. I do not agree with you about horror. Horror is so much fun, and so it's not like it's easy to write, because nothing is easy to write. But I have a much harder time with horror. Or I have a much harder time with like just drama or slice of life than I do horror. Because horror, I mean, there's tension there. There's a naturally a level of like something's after you, something's gonna happen. Whereas sometimes in slice of life or magical realism or one of the more realistic genres, it's like, okay, we went to the bank today.
Yeah.
Dope.
The way I see writing horror, though, is it's the same as comedy in that you build expectations and then you twist it and you go in a different direction. Like if you want to surprise somebody, like if you want the equivalent of a turn-page jump scare, it has to be something they didn't expect coming. So it's the same as like writing a joke.
Yeah, a little bit. They are connected in an intrinsic way. I think horror is hilarious. I think that's the key to horror, is that it's funny.
And that it shocks and surprises, which is what comedy is as well. So question for all you guys, because I'll tell you this story. So I took a comic class, I'm not gonna say with who, and asked, you know, I do the horror stuff. Is it okay? I asked them, what do I do to not be typecast? So it's not the same, you know, it's not be like, oh, it's just I want to try something different. And he said, stay in my lane. Would you agree with that advice, or are you like, you know what, try things and get out of your comfort zone? Because I love being the sloth guy, but I definitely one day want to write something where a little bit more unexpected.
I think that's horrible advice. I don't.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Offended. I know, and it was somebody big.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your fucking lane, the sloth boy.
You drive right into oncoming traffic and you terrify those motherfuckers, dude. You get as far away from your lane as you can. You wreck that car, set it on fire, climb out of it, and walk away, like in the cool walk, and it blows up behind you.
Exactly.
That's the lane that you don't stay in.
That to me was, when he said that, was like, okay, this is a challenge accepted, because he said it in a nice way. He was just like, you know, if you're good at one thing, you know, stick with it, and like, you know, that'll help you in comics. That's more what he said. But like, it was more of like, but at the same time, it's like, don't try. Like, I felt like it was like, don't try new things, which I thought was very bad advice.
I think that there is some value in like building a brand and saying, you know, I do funny horror books, like, and people know you for that. At the same time, you know, if you can flex, if you can be a good writer in another thing, I think that's even more impressive. Like, I want to see what the funny horror, like, if someone says, oh, the funny horror dude wrote a really good like sci-fi thriller, I would be like, really? I want to see what that's about. And then to me, that makes me much more attached to you as like a writer when I don't know what to expect from you, and I just know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll challenge accepted, because I'm
get on that sci-fi thriller.
or sci-fi
Start-
thriller. I
start on
definitely
it.
like to do something serious at some point, but we'll see when we get there. But it's funny too because the next project after this is completely comedy. So maybe after that one.
Love that.
Well, there's different elements of comedy. Just like with Zombie Date Night, you switched it up and did a rom-com horror.
Yes.
You know, and that was, you know, still very much like a zombie deal. But then there's like the worst way to start a relationship ever, and like, and the bond though with them is like their dynamic as it changes from like when they meet to as the date starts to after the chaos by the end. You know, and that's only like, I mean, it was like what 30 something pages, like a little longer than a comic, but you still did all that in a short amount of time. So I mean, you know, you're playing in like a, you know, comfortable parts of the field, right? But you're not afraid to like switch hit. You guys do sports at all? That makes sense. I don't know.
Go Yankees.
I'm a football guy. I was like, I don't know why I went with a fucking baseball. Like, I actually know a little bit about football, but I went to the baseball metaphor. Who knows? Anyways,
only if it's youth league football.
Yeah.
I think I'll just keep cricket analogies to myself.
So Wells, you kind of were talking about horror, and I know you're not here to talk about this comic, but you just had success with Frankenstein the Unconquered, which is well, you fulfilled and shipped it out and everything, right?
It is being printed right now.
Okay.
I sent out the digital copies last week, and it's being printed, and we're gonna, as soon as we actually paid a little bit extra for rush printing to make sure that it gets out on time and to make sure that it's ready and people have their books in time for the next Kickstarter to start, because I am turning around really quickly from this
you're staying busy.
Yeah, no, I have to. But yeah, no.
It was like someone behind you with a gun. Like, what? Are you okay? Are you safe?
I'm just no, it's 100% me. It's me doing it to me. I just want to get as much out there as possible, and I want to. I don't want to like miss opportunities to be making comics and to be kind of pushing my my career forward. I don't know. At some point, you just look around and you go, "I don't want to spend another year waiting tables. I want to go out there into the world and make comics and see if I can make that my job."
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I spent. I thought we were talking in the green room. I was a bouncer for many years, and they lied to me. They like the bartenders at this bar were making so much fucking money. It was insane. And like, I would help them and get tipped out and be a bar back and a bouncer. And they kept like, I stayed there forever because they kept being like, yeah, I'm going to make you into this bartender, Blakers. No, Mayor, I'm making you a great bartender. And it never, they never let me, for real bartend. But I mean, man, I had fun. But it was like 7 years of that, of like getting like the bar was open till 3 a.m. So like, close at 3 a.m. Party, go home at 8 a.m. And then sleep till 6 and get up and go do it again. Like I was being dumb. So anyways, but yeah, as fun as it is, even getting out of it and finding like a decent office job, which is what happened to me, is kind of nice. And yeah, like to get out of that and like chase your dreams and like do something you actually love. Like, yeah, it's a great feeling. And I'm glad that you're having Kickstarter success right now. How are the vibes going about Frankenstein the Unconquered? Like, you think, are people liking it, or are you getting good feedback?
people are loving it. It was our biggest campaign in terms of backers yet, and really, like, in terms of all the metrics that I care about, our most successful campaign. Absolutely. Nice. And people have been really excited about it. We're building up a lot of buzz for number 2. So I in my heart, fingers crossed, I really want that one to be the one that crosses the 10K for the 5-figure threshold. As much as I would love that for me to be Mechaton number 1 or Mechaton number 3, we got 6 days to go. I don't think we're on pace for that, but I do love this book as well, and I want it to be just as successful.
Yeah, it's very fun. It reminded me of, and I haven't read the whole series, but I started Met Cadet U. Okay. I think it's Greg Pak. and it's really that's okay. So it's not really like your comic at all, but like okay, like colors and style and
Sure.
and the mech and the youthfulness and the hopefulness of it all, the kind of vibe is similar. Mech Cadet U's kind of like Harry Potter for mechs. Like he goes
Sure.
to this like mech high school university thing, and there's even like sort of a sorting hat scene. It's anyway, it's what I've read is really dope. But anyways, art and vibes and stuff is similar. And just this is fun. Like it's very
Yeah.
enjoyable. And I read a lot of comics, right? I'm on a lot of press lists. I do a lot of these interviews. I've had, a lot of luck and been blessed in that regard. So, I get a lot of comics to read every week. And this by far, I have never read a better hot dog stand robot book in my life.
Sure.
It's
Well,
busy season.
I'll take it. It's a compliment. I appreciate that.
No, but I mean, it's so good, and it's got a really good message. Like Derek is a very lovable guy.
Yeah.
The little moments that you put into this comic, that you don't that could move faster or give you like extra splash pages or action scenes, but like purposely showing up late to give the couple the pizza for free, right? Because he knows that they're broke.
Yeah.
Little stuff like that, man. That's so smart. Like smart.
That was present in like the Mechaton as a script and as a story is like changed so much from inception to what it is now. But weirdly enough, that scene was always there the entire time. Was like
Nice.
him going to work and him like kind of kicking his feet and showing up late on purpose to make sure that this couple these neighbors that he cares about gets a pizza for free. Which like I've had people be like, well, that's stealing from his boss, and I'm like, okay, that's an opinion, I guess. What is that
God.
taste? What does boot taste like? I'm curious.
Yeah.
No, but like no, that was always really important to us. Is that at his core, Derek is just a really good dude, and he wants to do his best to like for his community and for his and he's one of those guys that like really doesn't know how, but he has good in his heart. And so we said, what happens when we give someone who doesn't know how the means to do something good. Which is sort of the heart of the
Glitch is in the house. What's
Ooh.
up, Sarah? Is saying that they're really digging the art of this book. Yes, beautiful.
Fernando Pinto is such a good fucking artist, man. Like, I love his style so much. We took so long to find an artist for the book because we knew it was something special, and we were trying out some different art styles. We didn't know it would work, and we just stumbled upon Fernando in like a Twitter chain and reached out to him, and he was super approachable, really, really nice, and like had a really firm kind of stylistic choice for the book that I think works marvelously. Like, it is just the right amount of like manga-inspired shonen nonsense, highly expressive, while also being very like down to earth and uniquely his own. Perfectly cartoony. I like to describe it.
Yeah, but still like great emotive characters.
Yeah.
I liked this in the second issue too, like the coming out scene and how that was just kind of like, I don't know, I thought that was handled. It's handled real well, and it, we all love inclusivity, and
I really
diversity is awesome. I love that you have diverse characters in your books. That's
fantastic. I didn't want, for me, just personally, because like, you can, I'm a white dude writing comics, and I guess it's not that it's easy for me to write white dudes, in comics, but I just see enough of them and I read enough of them that I get really fucking bored when I see a bunch of white dudes walking around doing superhero shit. It does not interest me at all. So I really wanted to have queer characters of color, and one of the things that was important to me in this book was showing a relationship that is both the relationship between Derek and Leah, which is a sibling relationship that is more realistic than what you normally get on that in most media. I feel like just as someone with brothers, it bothers the hell out of me when two characters are introduced and they refer to each other as brother. I have never once called my brother and said, "Hi, brother." I'm usually calling him and saying, "Hi, dumbass." Like that's the relationship, and I felt like the audience was smart enough to grab onto that without me explicitly saying that they're siblings for at least a couple pages, but without like clarifying it. And when I did it, I tried to be like as clever with it as possible. And then the second half is like just a romantic relationship that is very solid, that is not played for like cheap drama and made to be like a source of really generic cheap conflict. I wanted that to be like a present thing, that these two are solid, they're there. You don't have like, we're seeing what a positive relationship looks like in a book or in media, as opposed to one that's constantly in conflict.
And then you've got this great Jay Sheik variant.
Oh my god,
he's such a good dude. I love his art, and he's just also a good dude.
I told him I want a house robot. Like, here's the Spider-Man cover that we're basing it on. I want a house robot and Derek there. And he said, "Got it. No further explanation." And he came up with that, and I was like, this is somehow much more perfect than I ever expected it to be. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I had to get it. I had to step it up. And then I remember, do you still have copies of 1 and 2 as well? Like if people want to go back? Okay.
I got 2 right here.
Nice.
Yeah, 1 and 2. You can do a whole catch-up series, or a whole catch-up tier. That's issues 1 and 2. And we have a variant for 2 as well from Fred Stressing. That's based on which one is based? Green Lantern 76, the one where Green Arrow shoots the lantern and explodes.
Oh.
So,
Steve, you still got first issues? I forgot to ask you. Do you have first issues of Slowpokes to send out still, or are they gone?
So I did add it to this campaign. I had 22 issues from the original 400 print run left, and we sold out. So I will have to probably do a second printing with maybe another cover at some point. But yeah, I still have digital copies for issue 1 and 2 on the Kickstarter for people to catch up if they missed the first one. But yeah, down the line, I definitely would like to do another cover for Slowpokes. This probably be a more mass marketed one compared to the other one, which is more of like, hey, this is a thank you to the first 400 people who gave me my start for this.
Speaking of mass market, we were talking, Wells, the Mechaton, it was going to be coming to Scouts YA imprint, Scoot.
Yep.
Wow.
Which is super dope.
Yeah, thank you. Scouts, we managed to get a meeting with a really cool guy, Richard Riviera, during the second Kickstarter, during Mechaton number 2. And we had to be really hush about it, but as we were finishing that up, we were talking more and more about like, okay, so what would this look like? What imprint will we put this under? And we got everything signed and sealed. We fixed up number 1. So the version of number 1 that you get in Kickstarter is unique. So there's going to be one that goes to comic shops, and it has a different cover. It is recolored. It has a couple different things changed about the art. It's still the same story. It's still mostly the same, but it is a wholly unique thing. And then I don't have a date yet. I can't say exactly when it'll be, but sometime probably next year, it'll be in stores in comic shops across America. Mechaton number 1, and then
how's that feel to say?
Pretty good. Not gonna lie, it feels pretty great. And then the way Scout works, or the way Scoot works, is number 1 is going to be in stores. None of the other issues are going to be in stores. They're going to go straight to the trade. So if you like floppies, if you like issues, the only way to get it is through Kickstarter or through my Ko-Fi. But
exclusivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
How
This is
many
it.
issues are you planning on?
So the first arc is 5 issues,
Okay.
and we're finishing up writing the 5th issue right now. We actually have a big fork in the road where we have to decide what to do with one of the scenes. But once that's written up, we'll have the first arc complete. We are imagining it's going to be 3 arcs. It might be 2, but it who knows, it could be more. But we definitely have at least that much story to tell.
That's awesome, man. I
Yeah.
like that. I like the gumption. Because they tell people when you're, especially when you're shopping around at publishers, right? They're like, it's real hard to come out of nowhere and say, hey, I got this 12 issue maxi
Yeah.
series, right? And this is what it's going to do, and this is why you guys should buy, pick me up for all 12 issues, even though you've never heard of me before. And I've got character sketches for you to look at right now, like
Right.
or something. But I feel, I feel like, that's one of the beauties of crowdfunding is like, you can come out and do the first couple issues, and then you're like, all right, people are backing it. And more than likely, as long as you keep delivering, as long as you actually deliver and the product gets out, right? And that's a big part of it. But when your audience starts to trust you, Kickstarter audiences are very loyal. And they definitely keep coming back. And if you do stuff right, they come back a little more forceful every time, right? Like there's a handful of extra people every time, and over time it adds up. And so, yeah, like if you come out with a 15 to 18 issue idea, if you want to hustle, you can make it happen. And that's kind of a beautiful thing.
It is. It's very much a beautiful thing. I think if I could talk to myself from 2 years ago, I might have started with something a little less ambitious. We might have started with a 4-issue, a 5-issue, like full story run, because it is a little daunting sometimes, especially at the pace of Kickstarter, where I'm not putting out a book every month. I'm putting out a book every 6 months. Where I'm like, okay, can I do this for 9 years? That's a good question. How do I speed up the process? How do I get this story told? But I think we have solutions incoming. So I'm so thrilled that we were able to do this and that it's been going as well as it has.
That is awesome, and I like that we got this. This is another fun cross promotion deal that we're starting to see more and more of, and I like this one even more because a lot of times it's a print, and the prints are cool, right? But like you get some kind of little goodie for backing another campaign, right? And so Jared Lujan, Twin Blades Blood and Obsidian is ending Friday, and if you back that physically and you back Mechaton physically, you can be entered into a raffle to win a big old stack of comics that they're probably going to sign and stuff for you too. And some goodies.
They are all signed. You get 5 comics, $50 value, because the anthologies add up. And I'll just say this right now. I'm not going to say how many people are currently entered in to the raffle. But if you go ahead and back me and back Jared and then let us know and enter into the raffle, your odds are pretty good still.
Nice.
So
I'm in there.
I would definitely, the steps are back me at a physical tier, back him at a physical tier, and then tell us that you've backed us both at a physical tier, because Kickstarter doesn't allow us to share backer information. So we need to be informed that both are there, and then we can confirm with each other and be like, hey, did they back? Yeah, cool. So if you're hearing now and you've done both, let me know, because I can't ask.
And they're both great. For one, everybody should be backing Jared's campaign anyway. That ends Friday. But yeah, Mechaton is great. Like both these are all like real great campaigns to check out. And both of which both these creators take spend some extra money, like I said, on the cardstock covers, the paperweight. The printing is great. The heavy, almost cell shaded lines in Mechaton, and crossing with that color that pops. You guys did a great job. Who's printing for you? Let's just shout them out because they're good.
Yeah, Comics Wellspring is printing. Yeah,
should have known.
Us. They are fantastic. They really are. They did a great job on Mechaton #2. They've done a great job with their foil covers so far. Yeah, I have no complaints with them. They are incredible. Absolutely
cool.
incredible to work with, and I really like their vibe and their customer service and their overall quality. I'm a huge paper quality nerd, so like the amounts of samples that we got, completely unruly. I don't recommend it to anybody to investigate what the best paper is across like 12 like I think it was like 5 printers that we looked at.
It's like tasting wedding cakes. It's just like
it really is. Like
by the
at
end of
some
it, you're like, I
point-
never want to eat fucking cake again.
Yeah, at some point you really are just like, yeah, no, they're all almond, and I don't like it anymore. But at the same time, when you find that perfect one, you're like, yeah, we're going with this.
All right, Gary, before we go to you, I mentioned earlier we do have a sponsor. We're going to play a trailer on the Blake's Buzz Show. Like, what the fuck, man?
Look at
right?
that.
Look at
Pretty
that.
good.
We're going to play a trailer in 5, 4.
Game over.
Well, I'm fucking pumped. That was
Jesus
dope.
Christ.
That music, man. Like, I want to listen. Like first thing in the morning, I just like listen to that audio. Just get ready.
While you're
I guess.
shaving.
Jonathan Hedrick's Capable #5 out on Kickstarter right now. It's a great comic. You guys should check it out. Honestly, seriously. It's super dope. A while back, the last year I got or earlier this year. I don't remember. There's too many Kickstarters ago. I got the first 4 issues, and it really did hit me. It's got like I said, it's got a good message, and it's heroes that you wouldn't expect, and the crash course, right? The learning how to be a good guy. He does that really well. So yeah, hopefully everybody checks that out. If not, forget you. No, I'm just kidding. I never forget you. I love you. You come watch Blake's Buzz every week. You come back. We'd love to have you. All right. So last but not least, Gary Proudley is in the house. And now Gary has this insanely intelligent fantasy series called Talgard. And what is it your 30-second or it's like a 10-second pitch. What's your 10-second pitch?
Okay, my 10-second pitch is if Conan the Barbarian was the smartest man in the room. That's who Talgard is.
And he's real smart. And so he writes these. It's structured in 4-page minis, right? And each one has a different artist, and there's no slouch in the art game in one panel ever. Like all these artists are 10 out of 10 nailing everything. And so like these just quick hitting 4-page shorts that tell a bigger story of Talgard and like who he is and what he stands for. And yes, he can fight, and yes, he's a badass, but his mind his mind is truly greater than the sword. Like it, and it's and the way that you do this, it seemed impossible. It's like how do you write a whole season, like seasons plural, of MacGyver and come up with these crazy ways of like him to complete these tasks and like outsmart the villain, right? And you do that in 4 pages over and over and over and over again, are you a genius? Are you like, I feel like you're a pretty smart dude. Like, do you have like a bunch of degrees? Should we call you doctor? Should we call you master wizard? Like, what do we call you?
He's not sitting on a chair. He's just floating right now.
Just floating.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the kind words. Second of all, absolutely not. None of that. It's the same as writing anything. You're just condensing it way more. It's been such an incredibly good exercise in cutting out the fat in anything that I write. Like, if you can get any story down into 4 pages, you got to sort of come in late. Don't spoon feed your readers. Don't, here's where we are. They'll figure it out. They get it. You got to address your problem as quickly as possible and then get out as quickly as possible. I
live my life that way.
Yeah, exactly. Before I was writing, I was an editor at a publisher in Australia called Gestalt.
Okay.
And convention after convention, I got people come up to me and they'll be like, I've got this epic 300-page thing that I want to do. And I'm like, throw it away, write some short stories. You'll learn more, you'll learn faster. You don't want to get halfway through a story that's 300 pages long and realize you've made a mistake. You want to get halfway through a story that's 8 pages long and realize you've made a mistake. So I thought eventually it was a good idea to take my own advice and do it myself and see if I could do it well. And I think if nothing else, Talguard's quite a useful book, like for people who want to learn how to write comics, to read it and see what works, what doesn't work, what I did well, what I didn't do so well. Because it's so rapid fire, it's really good to compare the stories. Like,
how hard was it for the art? Like, how hard was it, like, nailing down all these artists and finding the people that shared your vision and or did that kind of come easy? Did you know people from being an editor? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, like, so the first thing I'll say about the art is probably the most important element of the book as a whole is that we have the same colorist all the way through. A guy called Justin Randall, who's just amazing in his own right as a creator. But it keeps a cohesion to the whole book. So we've got some people with sort of fairly manga feel to their art. We've got some people with, gritty 90s feel to their art and everything in between. Any sort of feel is in there somewhere. And Justin just keeps it feeling all like a Talguard story. But, the Australian comics community is pretty small, pretty tight-knit. Or most of the people I already knew personally.
Okay.
It's really great with like a 4-page story too, because if you go to an artist who's busy and say, can you do me a 4-pager? They'll say, yeah, great, because, it's like a comedian doing a tight 5. They just jump in, do their best work for 4 pages. Artists tend to be excited at the beginning of a story and excited at the end of a story. They get some momentum there. And in 4 pages, all you've got is beginning and end. There's no lull in momentum. So it's really great sort of getting artists on board for just a quick 4-page story.
I think
Nice.
it's safe to say that this character is based on him because that's very smart ideas. All very smart ideas.
Well, and
Thank you.
his dialogue is great too. And I think in these with these shorter time frames, a little bit of extra dialogue is sometimes necessary. Like, we don't have neither writer nor artists have much room to waste time. And with some of these, like, bigger twists, it does require a little bit of extra dialogue, but in no time at all, or at no time at all does it ever feel like, wordy or like everything just moves so fast and it's just one to the next and they finish so quickly, but like you really do get stuck in it. Like I just kind of got lost in it, and then all of a sudden it was over and I didn't want it to be. Like volume 1 is like about 60 well, it's about, I guess, 40 something pages or almost 50 pages, and then there's some sketches and bonus stuff, and you include a couple script pages, which was cool. These days I'm liking seeing people's scripts and kind of nerding out on that. But the second volume, which is live right now, that's a girthy boy. That's a big thick tree trunk of a fucking book. That's like 240 pages or so. right?
Yeah, no, not quite that long. I'm glad it felt that long. There are 19 stories in it, so
Okay.
19 floors is what's that? 76 story pages.
Okay.
I think it's an 84-page book or something.
Really? I swear to maybe the PDF is weird on my tablet because I swear it said like 1,000,005 pages. It was huge. Like it was like it couldn't show me the number anymore. It was like cannot compute. It did not feel long at all. I did definitely don't like I said both times just like you don't want it to be over. Every moment of every story like in capture like you're like enraptured in it. It catches you and holds you. And it's kind of each of these like short, quick moments of stories, you like kind of don't want them to let you go, you know, like sometimes you want to stay there and you're like, no, like go on a little bit more. But then you're like, no, we're on to the next one. You don't have time to feel or think. And I'm like, okay, take me there. Take me there, barbarian daddy. Let's go.
Overinflated ego on this, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun as a writer as well to sort of see what you can do in the constraints you've given yourself, and mix it up a little bit. Try and not make everything, you know, like a aha moment, page turn reveal. Like one of my favorite ones that I'll just quickly break down. It starts page 1. Talgard is like drunk and steps out in an alleyway to relieve himself, and in the cobbled sort of wall he sees a face. You know, you can sort of see a face in shapes, and then he remembers earlier that day when he was on the battlefield giving tips to a young man in his first battle who died in the battle, and then Talgard sort of has a cry in the alleyway because this young kid that put his trust in Talgard died, which happens in a war. And that's kind of what sword and sorcery can do. Like, you can take really human moments. It just fits well in the same sort of world as, you know, this wizard's just summoned a dragon and now you've got to fight it.
I like the quote in volume 1 that you said in the short essay you included. And you said, sword and sorcery is a setting that lets you explore the fantastical elements of magic and the very human elements of the people who wield it, the what if and the what is. And I think that is so like spot on, because everybody, even if whether it's like a lizard person or an owl person, or if it's, you know, like these cultish, you know, priests and priestesses that pop in every now and then, like everybody's still very human in one way or another, like whether it's like a survival mentality or you know, trying to think their way out of it or talk their way out of it, or lie, you know, it's all, there's so much human, and it's, you know, genre fiction requires that, like sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, you know, you have to take us to an alien place, right? Either it's like a place where we've never been that terrifies us in a way we've never been terrified before, or like with sci-fi, you need to make, you know, the world seem alien and new, while still reminding us how to feel and experience in that new place. And fantasy is very similar in sci-fi in that regard, right? To where you're taking us to this other kind of world and you want us to feel jostled while simultaneously feel like we could fit in there and experience it. And I think you obviously have a knack for it, and it comes naturally, and you can execute it so well over and over again, seemingly effortlessly. But like, I mean, do some of these short scripts or some of these, you know, shorts, like, I mean, do you ever get like caught up and hung up and are you like, why did I do this to myself? Like how do I, or I mean, do these just kind of like, do these just slide out of you like a Taco Bell dinner?
Some of them do. To go back for a moment, you're absolutely right in that that's what genre fiction should be. It should be part sort of unreal, part human. It makes it a lot easier for us to look at ourselves when the character's not in a situation that we'll ever be in. You know, not to get too wanky about it, but to sort of examine the human condition, you kind of need simultaneously a bit of distance and to feel connected to the character. So genre fiction is the best way to do that, whether it be sci-fi, fantasy, you know, monster of the week, it's the only way to do it. With regards to sort of writing the tail guards, the 4 pages sort of makes it easier in some ways too. Like a lot of them, some of them I just have a concept that I want to explore or talk about. Like there's one where Tailguard does a mercy killing. And, whether you're for it, against it, you should have a think about it. It's something that you should examine in your life. I saw my grandfather who had Alzheimer's not be my grandfather for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And, that's a real bummer of a thing to be talking about. But, if you can't explore it in fiction, where are you going to explore it? Some of them are a little less, down. Some of them are just, here's a hard problem. How can I possibly solve it? And then, wander around the house thinking about how you could solve that hard problem for a couple of days and then make Talgard look like he came up with it in 2 seconds flat.
I really like the one, the live by the sword, die by the sword commentary. I thought that was really strong. It's basically because you make me think about it in a way that I hadn't thought about it before. Cause there's that basic, like if you're a mercenary or you're a soldier, like, yes, like this is probably how you're going to die. Right. Is in the field of battle at the tip of a blade or whatever. But there, you added another layer to that where it is like, which was very like X-Men Wolverine Logan style, like, when you live a life killing, bub, but I love that, right? Like it hit like that. But it's like you mentioned that when you do this, when you live this life, when you murder relentlessly, right? And oftentimes get paid for it, the cost on the human condition, right? The cost on your mental fortitude. And I've never really thought of that before, right? Because you're like, oh, like, mercenaries are awesome, and like these stories are fun to read, and like, they're action packed and they fly by, panel by panel, but you don't think about what happens after the fact, like horror movies, like right at the end of the horror movie, we survived, life will be fine, other than the fact that you'll like never be able to sleep again, that like any bump and you ever hear will like give you a heart attack, that you probably would never be able to turn the lights off again when you go to sleep. Like these long lasting emotional aspects of that, and just different kinds of trauma that you don't expect. And all of this, ladies and gentlemen, in 4 fucking pages. Like he puts you through this in 4 pages, and it doesn't ever vary. It's not like sometimes he throws 6 out there. Like it's always 4. They always make you think. They always kind of take your breath away a little bit. All bangers, no slips. It's insane. Like this should be funded. This fucking campaign right here on Zoop should be funded. And I really hope you all check it out. I did want to ask a side note, I think it's cool that we have these new crowdfunding opportunities, popping up here and there. What made you go with Zoop for this?
When we were just starting to do the campaign was precisely, you remember when there was like, a huge uproar about Kickstarter going to blockchain.
Yes.
Yeah, when we started planning this crowdfunding campaign was precisely then.
Okay.
So we thought, one, there might have been some backlash against Kickstarter, which doesn't seem to have materialized. It's still like, that initial sort of PR thing that they put out about swapping to blockchain was very vague anyway. It wasn't entirely clear why it was necessary or what was going to happen with it being blockchain technology. And the other thing is Zoop is just comics, which is kind of good. Like Kickstarter's amazing and it's been wonderful for comics, but I think we're kind of a small fry in the Kickstarter world. I don't know, maybe my impression's wrong there, but
No.
yeah.
Occasionally I dip over and look at like actual Kickstarters. Like a good friend of mine, Jacob Fleming, not to go too far off topic, he does tabletop RPGs and he just like put one out. I didn't see him promote it on Twitter once, and then I randomly go over and I realize, oh, he's running Kickstarter. I should check it out. Maybe pick one up. $45,000 he raised. 1,100 backers he had.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh no, this is a real Kickstarter. Never mind. This is
Yeah, so I mean, comics Kickstarters typically get 500 backers is great.
is great. Is amazing.
Like incredible. I think it would be great if Zoop was huge. I think
still early.
Too. It is still early. I think the biggest issue at this point is they just don't have the built-in subscriber base or whatever you call it. People who have accounts with Zoop. I think that's been our biggest issue because, like, I've done a Kickstarter before for a comic, and when I ran advertising, the conversion from clicks to backers was quite high. It's been a lot lower for Zoop. Like, people click on the link and go, "Oh, sign up for another one." It seems to be my impression. I don't know. I might be telling myself.
That's part of it. Real. Like, people are still weird about putting their credit card info in play. I'll put mine out everywhere. Fuck it. I don't even care. I thought about that the other day. Like, I was like, man, the stuff I've like blindly bought online where I'm just like, here's all my personal information. Sometimes it's like late at night and I'm lit up, and I like buy something stupid from some weird website. And then, I always remember I got mad at my dad one time because my dad's very, very bad at computers. And he fucking wanted this free Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car magnet. Like a stupid fucking magnet, and you had to like sign up for this NASCAR magazine, right? And he like put all his info in and stuff, and it like charged him like $85 for this fucking free magnet, And I'm like, and he's like, where'd this money could get taken out of? And I was like, and I'm asking him like, Dad, all right, well, we need to go. I was like, what website did you go to like put? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, how can you not know what website you were at to like put your money? I was like, didn't they send you an email or anything? And he's like, an email, what? And I was like, oh my God. Like, and now I think about it sometimes too. And I'm just like, that's neat. Here's my credit card. But like, usually I can do PayPal too. Like it's a lot different, I guess, too, when you can just click the PayPal button and be like, this is safe. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that is some of it. There's still some hesitation, signing up for a new account, blah, blah, blah. Quit fucking crying. Sign up, back this fucking comic book because it's awesome. Just my humble opinion. And what do I know? I'm just comic book press. David says I should yell at you more and tell you how good you are. I mean, if that's where we want the show to go, I guess. Like,
I mean, I appreciate it, but
I don't know if you guys noticed while I've been scrolling here, but like as I mentioned, the art in this is so incredibly top tier and so varied. And like I said, the prose, the exposition, the dialogue, it's all on point. It's firing on all cylinders, if you will, since we go bring it back to that NASCAR story and my good old pops. We always bring back everything in a circle. That's good storytelling, folks. But no, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but this all looks so good, dude. And you can get let's go back to the pricing here. Let's see, you can get $35 for 2 trades, and these are going to be books that like you're going to read again later.
Oh yeah,
this isn't gonna these aren't like your single time reads. Like if you like Conan, if you like fantasy, if you like throwing things across the room, you can like. This is gonna be like the books that you're gonna like, and both of them are done too. So like, I mean, if the campaign makes it, this stuff it's ready to go. It's gonna go to the. It's gonna the money's gonna get delivered. It's gonna go to the printer. The underwear pants gnomes are gonna do their thing, and then the comics get shipped, and then profit. I guess it's all gonna happen. But yeah,
if you want more profit, Gary, I think what you should do is audiobook with your awesome voice that you got going there, and you just read this, and I think people will just be shelling out the shekels for the
He does have a good voice,
very good reading voice. I feel like
it really fucking sucks when you guys come on my show and have like a better radio voice than I do. I get all like insecure and shit, and then I have to eat marijuana to compensate. No, that happened before I ever heard that guy talk, but I'm gonna blame it on it.
Fair enough.
No, it's but yeah, this is so cool, man. When like I said, this came in flew right off my radar. David is on, friend of the show, friend of myself, awesome writer, and he's like, Blake, I got a guy that like I want to like you should talk to, and he's got a cool comic. And I was like, duh, like I mean, like let's do it. And so like we sent an email, and then like I after looking at a PDF, I was like, dude, when are you free? Like you're on the show like whenever. And luckily like the campaign was going. We got 7 days left to get this guy some more money. We're just shy of 50%. It looks like. I'm not great at math, but it's about there. I'm not good at math, but I'm good at looking at that orange bar. But yeah, so we're almost at 50%, 7 days left. I've seen crazier things happen. All right. So like, and honestly, like folks, I promise you, like this is good comics. It's worth your money.
Stuff. I actually
also, when talking about paper stock, we've got like gorgeous books that have like, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like UV spot varnish on them.
Here, yeah. Well, here, let me
love that.
Let me make you bigger.
Sort of, can you see that?
Oh, yes. Oh, dude, I love spot gloss.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love spot gloss so much.
Pretty.
What do you guys think of like of spot gloss and extra stuff and Kickstarter Kickstarter crowdfunding goodies? Like, we saw Steve does like the t-shirts and the koozies. Wells left. Okay.
Well said. Go ahead.
Fuck Kickstarter goodies, Blake. I'm out of here.
I think he's showing.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Me being an asshole.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So that's a special. That's a special.
We thought you left.
Cover.
I can't hear anybody, but I'll be back in just a second. I promise.
Okay, I do have Steve, I always forget to ask you this every fucking time I've talked to you, and I'm going to remember it this time. You run longer campaigns than most people.
Yes.
What's your thought process on that?
I thought you were going to be like, what's your fucking problem?
What's your deal, man?
Here we go. I'm back.
My thought
quit lollygagging around and get this campaign over with.
So for me, I just want the time to be able to, just to talk on podcasts, just to promote. And, people have lives, people have better things to spend their money on. So for me, I just want to be able to connect. I just want to be able to connect. And because for me, comics is like a vacation. So I want to have it as long as I can, where I can talk to people about comics and just enjoy that ride that we're on. And for me, Kickstarters are kind of like a fight. Like, like I got to fight to get, not a bad fight, obviously, but like I got to work to get backers. I got to work to get the word out. I got to
kick the shit out of Wells because this comic looks better than mine.
This comic
it's shiny. It's awesome. It was shiny as fuck.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great. I'm going up against great creators who have such great ideas like these guys. So it's just I just need the time just to spread the word and connect and make contacts and figure it all out.
I thought you were just like, I'm getting every fucking dollar I can, Blake.
No.
I'd run this campaign for 365 days if I could, sir.
I also have a very demanding job, so I just want to make sure that, if I'm not able to do podcasts for certain things, that I give myself the time. That's all it is. Okay.
We got a good question here from David Gage. How many podcast interviews do you guys normally do? I know Steve does a lot of horror, like outside comic book stuff. He does a lot of like cool horror podcasts and stuff with that whole other side of Twitter, which I'm starting to become friends with and stuff. And like, I like
jump in.
Dude,
that
it's so like all my Twitter is it's cute animals, it's food. It's everybody talking about comic books they love and everybody talking about horror movies. Like I finally have a safe Twitter space. And that's why once in a blue moon, when something bad happens, like I don't take it well. And I'm just like, I worked so hard for this. But anyways, so I know you do like, what kind of podcast circuits do you guys hit, every time?
I don't have a set list or anything. I just try and grab, honestly, whoever I can, whoever will let me on. If I see one, I'll hop on. But it's been pretty disorganized up until Like a week ago, I started working with a PR guy, Jeffrey Haas, and he has got me on like some ridiculous, like 20 podcasts for September and October for the next Kickstarter coming up. So I'm going to be working my ass off.
I love those. I do a lot with superfan promotions. Like they I'm on their press list for like they do like Ahoy and a couple other press lists but they also like every now and then like one of their reps will hit me up and be like, Blake, do you want to interview this awesome person? I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't have to like get out there. Like you're just bringing me this opportunity, but it's wildly useful because they get to know these people and they have a client base, right? Of like good shows and good interviews to do or good reviewers to send your stuff out to, you know, and it really helps to like not have to do that research on your own.
Oh yeah.
And have someone come to you with that.
It's a major benefit, like major time saver for sure.
Does it get exhausting? Like when you guys do like a bunch of interviews? I always make the joke of like, okay, so like I've talked to David Pupose a couple times and he'll do like 40 interviews during a Kickstarter for like the OZ or something. Like he's legit insane. In like 3 weeks, he'll do 40 interviews. And I'm always like, I always imagine it like talking to like 40 me's just like nonstop for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh God, it's like, why is it worth it? It's like a couple extra backers worth that just talking to a bunch of fucking gummy eating weirdos for like an hour and a half nonstop.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
I love the shit out of interviews. I would, if you told me that like you get to quit your job, but you have to do one or two of these every day, I'd be like, fucking Nat, let's go. Let's go. Here's my 2 weeks. Like immediately, no questions asked.
The best part is getting to meet other creators because we're all in this together. You know what I mean? We're all in this together, and just to have that, people going through the same things that we're all going through writing. It's so helpful. It's just such a nice thing to see and supporting each other, which is cool. Like I really haven't had a negative experience on any of these podcasts. I'll do a million podcasts. It doesn't matter to me because you could reach somebody. You know what I mean? You could reach, even if I reach one person, that's a win for me. And that's what I've always wanted to do with these comics, just create connections and have fun.
That's awesome. What about you, Gary? Like, do you do a lot of these? You said the kind of the scene over there, the comic scene's a little more intimate. Like, I mean, like, is that the same with like press and podcasts and stuff too?
Yeah, so there's a few podcasts and sort of interview sites and stuff over here that I've done. I'm just starting to reach out internationally. A few here and there. Like I did an interview with Comic Book Yeti.
Nice.
They're good people.
Thank you.
That was really good.
I forget you write for them. Or you?
Yeah, I do the
stuff for them.
Kickstarter list over there. Up until recently, I was their review editor, and I put Talgert on. Did I put? I put both of your comics on.
I was honorable. I was honorable mention, which I love.
Okay.
I'll take it.
I think it was because
no, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I want the reason.
I think it was because we did Slowpokes 1 earlier.
Yeah,
the first Slowpokes we put on the list, and if we try, unless it's a really slow month, we try, and if we've put it on the list before, it's just an honorable mention later.
The best thing about these Kickstarters is that there's so many cool things to choose from.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's no matter what you like you'll find something you really like. And this month, like I was just like, oh shit, there's so much good stuff out there. Like I gotta, but it's not like a competition. Like I want everybody to succeed. It has nothing to do with like, oh, I can't believe this. It's just like, all right, like that's cool. Like I gotta step up my game and figure out like what the next thing is.
Yeah. It's nuts out there, man. I wish I had the means to experience more of it because I'm not gonna lie. A lot of you guys send me like review stuff and stuff to check out or to come on the show and whatnot, too. But there's there's some stuff I find out and it's like, oh, there's 3 days left. This looks awesome, and I have no money in my bank. Like fuck, and then you get that fear of missing out, right? And you're like, oh, like what if it doesn't come back, or what if he comes back with issue 1 and 2 and it doesn't fund, and then like what what happens? Like, what if there's like a new murder hornet and stings me and I get COVID-4 and Michael Bay makes a movie about it? Like, what if these things, what if the snowball tumbles and grows and grows? You know, so I mean, so that's just like, that's my thought process. when I can't back a Kickstarter, my mind's like a fucking gerbil in a wheel, man. It's just running and running to every doom scenario it can find. But you know, there's so much out there, and I mean, you can't back it all, and even if you did back it all, I don't know that you'd have time to read it all. You know, once it comes, like
there's so much
crazy.
out there. Yeah.
But it's good. It's a good problem to have, right? There's people are out there chasing dreams and telling stories.
We're spoiled for choices.
Yeah.
I mean, and for creators too, like the fact that you made this thing and you put it out there, you're already ahead of the game, because so many people are like, you know, I feel like an imposter, or I feel like I'm not going to make it, or whatever. It's like, you made it. If you made this thing happen, you made it.
Yeah, I agree. How do you guys? I want to go around the room. How do you guys deal with the Kickstarter jitters and the worries? And you know, I mean, Steve, you know, stretches his campaign a little out, which I would. It does that either helps a little bit, I think, or it's just you're under stress longer.
For me, it's not stressful, because like the book is made. Like, even if one person backs it or one person buys it, whatever, that's a win for me. You know what I mean? Because like I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it all out. Comics are a safe space. Like, comics are fun, and I hope to keep it that way. I know it's not that way for everybody, but you know, definitely, you know, just have fun. Like, that's why I used that many days, because you could have as much fun with it as possible. You could play around with it, connect with people on Twitter. You know, I made a theme song for this thing. You know what I mean? Like, I could roll these things out over, you know, these weeks here.
Nice. Sarah has as I mentioned, Glitch is a really dope Kickstarter too. No sponsorship or affiliation, so I'm not getting paid to say that or anything. You know, I don't get paid to say anything really when it comes down to it. But anyway, regardless, Glitch is really cool. Glitch, you can go read the issue 1 for free. They were so confident in their comic, they left the free issue online to like give you a chance to read it and you know, be like, okay, I will spend the extra bucks for a physical copy or whatever. But anyway, so they day one funded, doing well, rocking and rolling, project we love, everything you could want in a campaign. It actually kind of shocks to see this question from them. Nervousness about approaching people, because it's funny, because I got in a little bit of trouble for voicing my opinion on being approached disrespectfully, or like I was a machine, or calling, like sending me an email with the wrong name in it or something, you know, and I was, or just like, you know, DMing me like, here's this, when can I come on your show? And I'm like, oh, hi, my name's Blake. Okay. But you know, like, so some people are just very forward and have no, you know, thought or care in the world. And whereas, you know, other people like, you know, get to know you, maybe listen to a show or see how you are online and stuff before they're like, hey, or a friend says, you know, anyways, but like, how do you guys approach that? If you don't have like a PR person, right, who's giving you a list, or just like when you're doing your own research on something you might want to go on, like how do you guys approach reaching out to press and podcasts and hosts and stuff?
Just be polite and, you know, be yourself. And you know, you can't get the word out about your project if you don't say anything. So the best thing to do is just, you know, reach out to as many people as you can. Some people will say no, maybe, but a lot of times people will say yes. And once you're not afraid of the no, the yeses will come. I think that's the best advice I think I could give, because people want to. You guys have made such cool stuff. Like, it's very good. It's going to be hard for people to say no if you can sell your project correctly.
Yeah, I would have a hard time. By the way, ask me if you want to come on my show. By the way, I would love to have you. But like, I would have a hard time thinking that like if you threw Glitch around and like anybody who would look at that and be like, like it's cool. It's a cool comic that would be cool to talk about. And they have a fucking hilarious Kickstarter trailer video where they're introducing the comic, and it's very funny. And they posted an outtake reel on Twitter, which I thought was a great idea. Awesome. I thought that was funny. But yeah, so they seem like, I mean, just me as a host, like watching that, if I saw that and knew they wanted to come on my show, like I'd be like, yeah, just like Wells and I followed each other for a while, and he just DM'd me and he was like, hey man, I know it's short notice, but do you got any time? And I was like, that's why I actually started doing this live stream, so that I could get more people. The podcast gets booked out like quick. Right. And there was a time when I tried to do like 2 podcast episodes a week, and it got to be too much. Like I was like, man, and I didn't want to burn myself out. I'm loving it. I don't want to not love it. Right. And then I was like, oh, like I could do like a live stream, which is a whole other bag of worms too. Right. But I can get like, I can get 3 or 4 of you on, and give everybody a little spotlight, showcase the campaigns. And it, that's easier to get more people on. Yeah, I don't know. Or you could be like Gary and have the hot shot of Nottingham, reach out to get you gigs and stuff, and also then back it up with like one of the best fucking comics I've read in a hot minute too. So like, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it, but I do think part of it is being a little even if you fake it, being confident in yourself and I deserve to be on these shows. I'm a good guest. I'm a talent. My book deserves attention. Do the Stuart Smalley thing, look in the mirror and say that 3 times, and make sure you say it in the dark, and the ghost of Kickstarter Pass will appear in the mirror and he'll grant you 3 wishes.
That's true.
But
he won't give you
all
project
science.
you love. But he won't give you projects we love. That is drawn randomly out of the hat. No, as someone who's like on kind of both sides of it, because I've done a lot of review stuff as well, as asking people for reviews and asking people for interviews. I think that to Blake's point, just realizing that they're people and like they want content as much as you want to be on their show. So it's not so much you're asking them for this big favor as it is like, hey, let's do this together. And just being polite and respecting the fact that they have a schedule. They have, you aren't entitled to their platform any more than and they aren't like, bound to read your book or anything. But if you just approach politely and ask and, respect their time, be like, hey, is there, do you have an opening for me? Is there a way? I know this is short notice. That's how I opened with Blake, like you said. And then on your end, the nervousness about it, is just, if that doesn't help, if like they're just people and they're trying to put on a show and they need you as much as or they need me as much as I need them. Mm-hmm. What I would recommend is download an app called chess.com and make yourself play like 10 games against real people. And if you can get over the fear of hitting the play game, like the find match button, and getting your ass kicked by people online because you just pit in your stomach feels awful, like you never know what you're gonna face, and you're gonna, you're probably gonna lose. Like if you can get over that, talking to a person online to be like, hey, can I come on your show, doesn't affect you anymore.
You don't know how comfortable you are until you're uncomfortable.
Yeah. Exactly.
I would add to all the wonderful things that you guys have said with take the general down to the specific, because you put your book out there for everyone.
Yeah.
If you remember that everyone is made up of a lot of someones, it's a lot easier to speak to this particular someone and say, hey, can we talk about my book? Because it's one of the people that you put it out there for anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I actually think most people who do have to say no, I know for me, I mean, there's been a few projects that I was just like, I don't get it, or it's not for me, or, I don't want to, like, honestly, like I don't have people on my show. I don't interview people, and I don't retweet and hype people. Like, if I wouldn't give you guys my money, I'm not going to tell other people to give you their money. Like, and I think I have that, I have a reputation, and I think a lot of people that follow me, like, do take my recommendations to heart and know that. And so like, but there's been those times were very few and far between. And most of the time I've had to say no was like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm busy and I'm booked out. Like, and that's like, again, you know, it's a bummer. Like, I'm sure you guys don't want to hear that. But I mean, like, yeah, 9 times out of 10, when I have to tell somebody no, it's like, it's just like, I don't have a time in the 3 weeks before your campaign's over. And I'm so sorry. And it sucks. And like, you know, that's the only bad thing about it. And the bad thing about, like we mentioned right now, there's so much out there. There's so much content. You know, there's only so many hosts, and there's a lot of shows you don't want to go on too, right? There are shows out there where people aren't going to read your stuff. They're just going to have you on, ask you generic questions. So, you know, you got to do a little bit of research on that end too. But yeah, regardless, like, I think your comic book's awesome, and you both seem really funny. And that's another, maybe that would help too. Like, you and your co-creator, like, you know, getting you both on where you're kind of together. You know, I've seen a lot of creators do that too, you know, like, especially when there's 2 writers. But, you know, a lot of times I like getting the writer and artist and stuff. You know, it's cool getting multiple people from the same team on. And I'm sure that may take some of the jitters away too. And honestly, it just fucking boggles my mind that anybody would like be nervous talking to me. Like,
well, calling you by the wrong name. So, what name did they call you?
Shane. They called me Shane. Yeah, that's
Buzz.
I was gonna I changed my Twitter name to Shane Says for a while. Like,
I actually think with the Blake's Buzz name, you're a bartender. What would be in a Blake's Buzz drink?
Blake's Buzz drink is
It's got to be a play on a bee's knees, right?
Maybe with a coffee in it with a buzz.
Just put some beef in a minute.
No, I think it would be a bomb. When I was at Hooper's, our go-to was Deep Eddy grapefruit vodka in the yellow tropical Red Bull, and it tasted like pink lemonade.
Okay.
And I mean, like, it's a little bit weaker than a traditional vodka, but it's a bomb. So you're like shooting it, right? And it's like, it gives you that Red Bull to stay around till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And after you have a few of them, they really do sneak up on you. And we never really called it anything. Like, you know, it was they were like, they'd be like, Blake, pour some Eddy bombs, and because it was Deep Eddy. And so yeah, it never had an official name. And so I think that would be the Blake's, because it's got to have Red Bull. I feel like it's got to have some kind of Red Bull in it,
and an edible to top.
And then like a little couple drops of tincture. Wells, I do not know what a bee's knees is. What is that?
Bee's Knees classic Prohibition era cocktail. It's as simple as it gets: gin, lemon, honey. That's it.
Oh shit!
It's
Okay.
delicious.
The other night,
surprisingly delicious.
the other night I drank gin and juice. I was drinking gin and Minute Maid fruit punch, man. And it was like, I'm not a big gin fan. But
I think people who aren't gin fans haven't really had gin properly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can have with it.
Like you either they had a bad experience in college where they learned how to where they like someone just hands them a bottle and is like, "Hey, have some gin. We're at a party," and they chug
like drinking
it's
it
terrible.
hot out of the
it's
like a $10 liter.
It's not like bourbon or vodka. Like, you can't do it by itself. It's made to be mixed. It's made to be it's a cocktail spirit. So you need to go out there and like have an open mind. Get a Gimlet. Get even a martini and a Negroni. You know, if you're into more like stiff stuff, like that's how you experience gin, is in cocktails, not or if you really want to experience gin by itself, gin and soda, gin and tonic. But yeah. If you try and just like, and I'm not a big fan of like gin and as it were gin and juice. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like doing the like gin and lemonade or gin and whatever.
He is not laid back.
It is not laid back. It is the opposite.
His mind is on his money, and his money is on his money.
Yeah.
And don't buy the cheapest shit you can either. Like that with gin, I feel like it's better to spend a little bit extra. Like, you don't have to buy like $100 bottle, but
no. I mean, I would recommend cheap bottle that'll last you a while. It's just a good workhorse gin. Beefeater, Brokers, Fords, all great brands that are pretty cheap. That'll get you through for sure. Any London Dry that's not like Seagram's. If you're doing like Seagram's and 7, you're doing it wrong.
It's like diesel fuel at that
Yeah,
point.
it's bad. It's bad.
That's not pleasant. What about you guys? What do you like? We're drifting off into booze town. Are you guys drinkers? Do you like to let loose every now and then? You guys beer guys? Are you cocktail guys? Or...
I used to be all those things until just getting older. My body just does not like alcohol anymore. But I always like Moscow Mule is always good. I always like that. Vodka soda, always good. Bourbon and whiskey, always love that. But it sucked because like I've just because of my health recently and stuff like that, just drinking like kills my stomach now. Like I would have one drink and get sick. So like I'm trying to figure out how to get back to, just let me have a drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks, whatever I can. But love it all. Love it all.
What do you guys drink over there, Gary?
In excess is what we drink.
I was going to say Vegemite.
Yeah, look, I mean, I love making cocktails, but I probably am scared to say that around Wells, who seems to really know his stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shame you. I
think I make a really good strawberry daiquiri, so but I'm a Scotch man.
Well, what would your drink be for Talgard? Like, what would be the Talgard?
Ooh, if I was going to make a Talgard cocktail,
and what would be the Megaton? Because I think that's a good name for a drink as well.
Right.
Ooh, it'd have to have a hot dog in it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Nice.
It would be the Mechaton would be made of a bunch of random crap. It would come in like a bowl, and it would have a hot dog garnish.
Did you see that video on Instagram with the guy who was making?
Put a straw through a hot dog.
Yes.
Got to do.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's the grossest thing I've ever seen.
You guys have no idea how many hot dog straws I've gone through in a week. My stomach hurts too, Steve, and I don't know why.
In unrelated news, Blake is going to the doctor's.
That sounds like a great idea for your 5th drink, but not your first one.
Yeah, right.
Start out with the glizzy.
I really like making Mitch Drodds got me. I followed his Twitter and he pretty much taught everybody how to make the best old fashioned, or maybe I mean everybody's got an opinion on an old fashioned, right? But his was, he puts out a very alcohol forward, easy drink, but it's very elegant and enjoyable, and he got me drinking those for a while, and I made my own simple syrup, and I got the fancy bitters and transferred the bitters into the eyedropper bottles, right? So you can literally drop the bitters in there. It was I do like those a lot. And then you gotta light the lighter and spritz the orange, and it makes a little fireball, and then you're like, I'm the shit, and then you drink it. And then after the second one, you're like, you quit fucking caring, and you're just throw a piece of orange in there. You're like, nah. David says, do not go drinking with Gary. He will get you wasted and then embarrass yourself in front of big time comics folks. I feel, is this a story?
That's definitely a story.
Can we get a behind the scene VH1 what was that VH1 show?
Behind the music.
Yeah, the behind the comics. Blake's Buzz behind the comics. Spill the deets, Gary.
Oh, this is regular. You do an Australian con and you get your drink to excess afterwards. But I think David's only done it once, is why it's a story for him. But it's just a Sunday for me.
It's for David, it was the most important day of his life. For Gary,
it's all right. There'll be another one. We've got a
Sunday.
convention this weekend. Me and David are going to that one. He'll have a second story.
Did Alex Ross tell you to go fuck yourself too?
No.
Oh, did he reach out after our Christmas special?
He followed me on Twitter. His account followed me on Twitter, and I went to Lane Lloyd, and I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna come kick our asses now." I would, so in the Christmas episode, I was like, you know what? Since we're all indie, just start calling out creators to see what happened. Just start throwing fucking things. I was like, you know what, Alex Ross, we're coming for you. And I'm just waiting for Alex Ross to be like, "Fuck you, sloth boy." and then draw a picture of it, which would be awesome.
Well, and we were talking about like how like when you get Lane on to do a variant on Kickstarter, and it's like, and we like made the joke that like Alex Ross is out there like, no one's asking me to do a Kickstarter, and he's like, no, I want Lane Lloyd to do my fucking comic. We're like, whatever, Alex Ross, like go back to Marvel. It was like we just made all these Alex Ross. And he's like a wonderful man and is such a great talent. And I was just like,
I want to get these nice ass. You got to call it the nicest creators and get them to talk shit because like that they're never gonna do it. That's the best part. That's what I'm
like if Alex Ross did like a big interview with like Word Bubble or something, and he was just like, and by the way, Blake's Buzz and Steve Urena can go fuck themselves. I would die happy. I'd be like, man, that's a bummer, but
like, man, Alex Ross sent me a picture of him kicking my ass, and I didn't know what it was until I a few weeks later he came and kicked my ass. So
yeah, I've got to piss off more big time comic creators or something. I don't know. I got to build my brand.
So one of the things they don't tell you about Kickstarter.
So for all you guys here, and people watching as well, what's the dream in comics? How do you know that you've made it? Like, what is your ultimate goal when it comes to creating all these comics?
I want a publisher to come to me and say, we want you to make a comic and we'll pay you.
Okay.
I don't want to have to be responsible for paying the artist, the colorist, the letterer, the designer, the editor. I just want them to come to me and say, here's a check for X amount of money.
And
write
a blank check.
Write 20 pages and we will pay you this money and make the comic. And that is winning to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, you,
that sounds good. I think like 10 years ago, I would have said I wanted to write for the big two. But the further I get along, the less I want to do that. Like, you hear stories and it sounds like a job. Whereas I got into comics because I have things I want to say to people. Yeah. And I think indie comics does that better. So saying things to people, saying significant things to people is what I want to do. And hopefully just the scale in which I can say these things grows. Doesn't have to be exponential, just eventually.
Well, with this Talguard, if you get on the audio, you'll be saying things to people and breaking that cold hard cash.
Is this an accent thing? Because I've got a terrible.
No, you just got a great voice. You just got a great reading voice. I think you got something there. I think Blake's buzz, Gary's buzz.
I'm not usurping you, Blake. I promise. And just for the record,
I thought Steve might come on 4 times, but turns out that's not ever going to happen.
Steve
just for the
was
record
never
as
seen
well,
again.
David Hazan didn't embarrass himself. He was fine. He can hold his liquor really well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead.
No, what's your ultimate goal?
I really do. I want to write. I come from an MFA background. I wrote short stories for a while. I tried to hustle and get stuff published and had a wonderful collection. I used to hang my rejection letters up on my wall to like make me write more, and it worked for a while till grad school kind of fucked me up, man. Grad school kind of sucked the life out of me. And then when I got to my thesis, some life stuff happened and I dropped out. And then I had plans on going back, and then found out I couldn't go back because I had taken too long. You had like only a certain amount of time, and I would have had to start over. And then like, man, that just really bummed me out. And then I quit writing for a really long time. And then I launched Blake's Buzz, the blog, and started writing reviews. And that's when I kind of started writing again. And now I'm kind of getting that like itch to like do more than write reviews, right? Like I'm kind of like, man, like it'd be cool to tell some stories again. But yeah, I would, I've learned so much about crowdfunding and Kickstarter from talking to all you guys all the time. And I've talked to so many awesome creatives and letters and colorists and artists, and, finding like cool people would be cool to work with. And like, like even like have like a variant cover and like, like some of these artists I've gotten to know. And so, yeah, I do really want to do something there one day. But the only thing that bums me out is I am honestly scared that if I slow down here, I'm going to die. Not like die, but like I'm going to be forgotten, right? Like if I stop running, like I'm never going to catch up anywhere. And I have this like deep fear, like, and that's why I try and do 2 shows a week, and I try and just keep pushing myself and do more. And it's with the day job, I don't have time. I would like something has to give, where I would have to like have time to really pursue a creative endeavor. And so, yeah, I'm just, I'm a wuss, and I'm scared, and I don't quite believe in myself yet, but I'm getting over that hurdle. Like I'm trying. And anyways, this interview is not about me.
Hold on.
It's about you guys.
You don't have to believe in you. We believe in you.
Yeah,
so
you
do it.
can do it. One,
Yeah.
you can do it too. Two, if you need us to all guest host several different weeks of Blake's Buzz while you go on your creative journey, we could do that. And I'm sure you would have a lot of creators too that would probably jump in and help.
Oh shit, that's a
with
good
that.
idea.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't think about that.
And also just, you've had this idea probably, you've had ideas probably for all this time. I'm sure once you put pen to paper, it'll be there. You know what I mean? And once you start outlining and start having fun with it, you know what the story is. Like you know what I mean? And listen, the bar is low. If I could make Fast Killer Sloth the thing, you could make something really good.
Fast Killer Sloth is like the best 3-word pitch I've ever heard in a comic.
It's so good. And just every moment, I just remember the first time reading that. I was late to it. Like I missed the Kickstarter, and like all my friends, all of a sudden everybody's got these cool Sloth shirts that I'm wearing, and I'm seeing everybody like wear these dope shirts, and they're talking about this Slowpokes comic and these and I'm like, what the fuck? How did I miss this? And then Steve like was like, hey, I need reviewers. And I was like, hey, like, let me try and review, or like, I'll look at your comic. And then, he sent me a PDF, and like, I was like, holy fucking shit. And then I PayPal'd him and like bought I do have I did get a physical copy before they sold out. So I'm stoked about that. But yeah, dude, I was so fucking blown away by that. It's just so weird. And like, I know this guy like doesn't have like a real voice, but like, I always like hear this guy when I think of this comic, like I always think of that scene where he's like, they're so fast. Like, why are you fast? And it's just like that. I will like never get that chaotic scream. And I know like, it's funny, but at the same time, like when you put yourself in that guy's shoes, you're like, that's terrifying. There's this like kind of cute animal with these like Wolverine-esque claws, and it can walk like a person and like speed all over the place and like slice and dice you, all like silent, like the silent sloth killer. And anyways, I mean, it's just the bar is not low.
No, but you could do it too. That's all I'm saying. And like, you have imagination. Look what you've built here. Imagine building the story that you want to see. Like, I'm sure so many people would want to see that. So if you're listening to this show right now, I want you to tag Blake's Buzz on Twitter or Instagram or wherever you can find them and be like, I want to see your story. So
this is the official advertisement for Sloth Daddy's new service. Sloth motivation. Motivation comes slow unless you hire the sloth.
Sarah says, telling stories and sharing different worlds and characters are my main goals. Being able to afford to do so full time would be amazing too. I mean, like I said, it's these stupid day jobs, right? Like all they do is get in the way of everything. But I mean, everything costs money, right? Like I can't buy your guys' comics if I don't work, and like this, whatever. It's the day jobs suck, but we need them, unfortunately.
Listen, you got to bet on yourself, because at the end of the day, I don't want to tell you this while you're on an edible because it might freak you out. You're dead longer than you're alive. So what's stopping you? You know what I mean? Like for me, like during the pandemic and everything like that, I was like, you know what? I got COVID a few weeks ago. Now I'm like, I'm going out. I'm doing stuff again. I'm like, I'm vaccinated and everything. I'm tired of just sitting in the trenches. I want to be out and about and do my thing. Safely, of course. Yeah. But like in terms of like writing and everything, now's the time. There's no better time than now to just, even if it's just a little bit a day, you know what I mean? Even if it's just hey, I'll put together an outline. Hey, I'll put together this, just little goals for the day. And then by the end of the month, you have, 20-page thing,
That's a good idea. Just like, it's not, I forget that too. Like, it's like
Yeah,
you know,
nobody's asking you to do a whole
you can
thing
walk.
today.
You don't have to sprint.
Yeah.
Like, right? I don't have to. It's not grad school days where you're like, oh, I guess I'm gonna write this 12-page short story tonight. I've been kind
No.
of thinking about for 2
Treat
weeks
this-
because it's
treat
due
this as a
tomorrow.
vacation. I treat writing and I treat as like therapy and the vacation, and just like I can do whatever I want because but I mean I understand like the pressure of wanting to work for the big two or like wanting to get to that next level. But for me, I'm like, if I'm putting my money into this, I'm going to do whatever I want. Like there's no rejections here. If I want to do weird ass stories, it's all on me. If anything works out, doesn't work out, at least I'll be able to say, hey, I tried. It was my voice. It was something I wanted to do, and I'm proud of it. You know, win or lose.
Yeah. But you have, well, I know you have your like your joke pitches about like stuff in the big two, and you have like a weird story for like any kind of weird Marvel scenario or pair up or character.
Yes.
So I feel like there's a little bit of you. I feel like still would probably want the big two, or are you just are you sold on just Steve Urena land?
I feel like in the big, I'm always open to listening. Like I love, you know, there's so many great comics out there and everything. You know, I would love to be challenged and write for a licensed character or a character that is well known. But I love creating characters. Like that's so much fun, and like I feel like working in the independent realm, I could do things that won't be able to be done in the big two. Because like, you know, I cursed and I do all, I tried. I mean, I don't want to just rely on cursing, but I kind of can be violent. I could be crazy. I could be a little bit weird about stuff. But you know, I'm always open to listening. I still have my pitch for the MCU where it's the Thanos snap, but it affects somebody positively, or like, you know, it's like a look like this guy's getting berated by his wife or anything and stuff like that, or like he has a bad job and then like everybody gets blipped and like everything just starts going right for him until everybody gets brought back. It's like there's no traffic anymore. He's the #1 search on Tinder. You know what I mean? Like it's all these things that happen. He could be a low level superhero that was like a D level, moved up to A level now. But then I feel like that would be very funny.
Blake, you're muted yourself.
Did you had another like a guy was like robbing a bank or like a real like scummy criminal guy, and he's like about to get caught, and then like the cops get dusted, and then he's like, and the bad guy's like, oh,
No.
he's got all the bags of cash and
right.
stuff still. He's like, I would read that comic, by the way.
Yeah, no, that does sound fun. I have like, on the one hand, I have like no ambition to write for like you know, a big two, some like Marvel or DC or anything. Like I don't care about writing for a licensed character, and at the same time, I mean, it sounds like a sweet gig. It sounds like a job that would pay me money, so I'm down for that. But also, I would be lying if I hadn't been like, yeah, I've thought about what a Batman run would look like. I've definitely gone, yeah, no, I would put Mr. Freeze on the moon with an ice beam. That would happen. I think that would be the opener. Honestly, I think that would be the opener. And
Oh my
Batman
God!
would just
go
walk
big.
up, would go there in a helmet and just be like, Freeze, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm gonna freeze the world. He's like, how does this get Nora back? He's like, I don't know. That's the moment I've always wanted to write in Batman, and that's it. If I do that and leave, I've contributed.
Oh my! And then you'd get the Bat Rocket, which DC would probably black out and mute because they don't let you put the Bat Rocket in comics. They'll take it right out of there.
They will take it right out.
Editorial doesn't like that. No, that's awesome. That also would make like a great Batman animated series.
Oh yeah,
like that'd be like a good animated episode, which maybe they were going to do. And
it's just
you know,
like
cancel it.
I've always loved the cartoonish links to which villains go to do their schemes.
Yeah.
And then when you actually think about like what their end goals are, it's like, how does this make any sense? How did you reach this point of like escalation to the point where you're like, I'm going to freeze the entire world? And it's like, okay. And this gets your wife back how exactly?
Gary has a couple moments like that in Talgor too, where he's there's like the these like cannibal cultists, right? And they're like eating. There's a couple times where there's these like really weird instances, and like they just like summon a god to like fix the problem, and it's really great. And it's just like, I was like, yeah, like of course, like it's just of course you just summon a god, like, or of course you just like fly to the moon and tell Freeze he's an idiot. Like why would like this makes so much sense. Like
it's the Umbrella Corporation solution of. Oh, a minor inconvenience happened. Better drop a biological weapon onto this town and hope it cleans it up.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Nothing.
It'll be fine.
Nothing to see here, folks. All right, well, guys,
sorry. I would want to see for Batman where Batman and Alfred switch places. Like it's like Butler for a day. You know what I mean? Like
to this day, my favorite Alfred line of all time is him walking in and going, "Oh, you've discovered our secret. I'm Batman. I know this is a shock." And he's just like, did not hesitate 100%. He's like, nope, I'm taking it. I'll take the L.
Because just imagine Bruce Wayne just like doing Butler things for Alfred. Like it's like Butler Appreciation Day. Just like, I made you these cookies. That
would be a fun slice of life.
And
then
Alfred
he actually
dead.
realizes how hard his fucking job is, and he's like,
Alfred just gets
put up
shot
with
in the
me.
knee.
Because technically Alfred's dead right now, so I'm just picturing like corpse Alfred in the bat suit, and fucking
is so
Bruce is like
morbid.
making him cookies. Like, hey, I made
Everything's
you cookies.
gonna
Oh,
be
you're
okay.
still.
Bruce
my-
had a
my
full
mom and
psychotic
dad
break.
left me too. Like, why won't you wake up, Alfred?
Well, there's the Batman. There's the Batman who laughs. So it's like the Butler who's dead.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
It must be really hard to make cookies and be brooding at the same time.
I would pay money to see it. I would.
Oh man, guys, this was awesome. I've kept you for 2 hours, so it's time to wrap up. But I think I've been talking, I've been whispering. I got an announcement to make, guys, and I've got a special episode next week. Blake's Buzz is partnering with Mad Cave Studios for a night in Sherwood Forest. The whole crew of Nottingham is going to be on the show. David Hazan, Shane Connery Volk, Luca Romano, Justin Birch, and Brian Hawkins, editor, are all going to be on Blake's Buzz Live. We're gonna give away. Mad Cave is giving me a copy of Volume 2. Well, it's not out yet, but we'll give away a copy of Volume 2 for one lucky winner for when it comes out. So they're sponsoring a giveaway. I'm going to have this whole team of awesome people to one of my favorite comics ever. That is going to be next week. It's going to be at a special time. Luca lives some of these guys live across the planet, so we had to mix it up a little bit. So next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, 1 hour later, I can promise you it'll be worth staying up late for, folks. And if you haven't read Nottingham, you need to wake the fuck up and order that trade right now, which you can. Nottingham Volume 1 is available. And then the singles of 6 through 10 are now available. Issue 10 just dropped today. The Arc 2 has been a pleasant surprise for everybody and kept that same strong vibe going from that first issue, which is just it's been a winter after winter. So yeah, I'm really excited for next week. And thanks to you everybody for listening, guys. The polite host that I am, going to go around the circle real quick. I want you to tell everybody where's the best place to keep track of you, where to find you, socials, longitude, latitude, whatever you want to share. We'll put it out there for everybody. Gary, let's start with you, bud.
You can find me on Twitter at Gary_Proudley with an E in Proudly. And thank you so much for having me, Blake. This has been awesome.
Oh man, I had a blast. And again, please go check out this Zoop campaign. We got 7 days to make it happen. I want it to happen. I want Volume 2. Okay, so I want all my little minions, all my little buzz babies. I want you to run to Zoop. And also Kickstarter, but if you watch the show, you probably already got a Kickstarter account. You're also probably already backing Steve and Wells, hopefully. If not, you need to fix that too. But go to Zoop and you need to check out Talgard. I promise you it's worth it. I can't sing enough praises. But yeah, Gary, I wish you anything in the future, man. Always welcome back on the show. It's great to talk to you. I think you're a massive talent and would love to talk to you again sometime. Up next, Wells, where do we find you at, bud?
Well, first of all, I actually backed Gary's comic while we were on the show. So you better fucking get that. Yeah, absolutely. You better get that comic funded because I want to read it now. So, you can find me here on Twitter at Wells Thomp. It's just my name, but minus the sun. I'm also on Ko-Fi at Wells Thompson on Ko-Fi. I have my own website, wellsthompson.com. It mostly just points to all my other stuff. And my Kickstarter is currently running, as you well know, Mechaton number 1 through 3. We're $700 away from being funded, 6 days to go. Really, really can't wait for this heart attack to be over.
And you should all get the Jay Sheik variant and help him fund a little faster and get a really badass cover.
It's a badass cover. I love the shit out of it. I love the shit out of it.
Yeah, Jay's just good people. He needs to. I'm sure he would love for a lot of people to have a comic with his, well, he's already got a couple comics with his cover on it, but even
I don't want to spoil too much, but Jay and I might be working on something. I don't know exactly how soon it's gonna come. It could be as soon as the end of this year. It could be sometime next year, but we're working on something cool. So
that is exciting.
Yeah,
I will definitely be there for that. And last but not least, Lock Daddy himself, Steve Urena, is in the I don't know, his campaign's got like 84 days left.
Sometime in the next 3 years, it will be over.
It'll be over at some point. I don't know when. Maybe when the lunar eclipse hits or something.
Where do we find you at? And did you make a new Twitter account for the new campaign, or are you using the old Slowpokes?
I'm using the same Slowpokes account. You can follow us on Twitter at Slowpokes Comic, or if you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Steve Urena, SteveUrena.
Awesome, guys! All of you, this was so fun. I think you all have really great projects to back, and I am honestly excited for the stuff you guys are going to do in the future. I wish you the best of luck in the campaigns to come. And anytime you want to come back on here, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to play the outro unless anybody has anything else to say.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You guys have a great night. Love you guys.
And back all these Kickstarters and Zoops.
Yes, Get out there. Give them your money.
And go back Glitch 2. It looks really cool.
And
yes,
Glitch.
back Glitch 2. I saw that as well. Looks
and
great.
Pre-order Nottingham Volume 2. This, all of it, like I knew. Like anytime you're like, anybody have anything else to say? No. Oh well, shit. Wait, I got 5 other things to say. That's it, everybody. Good night.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.